From the EPAC to the Atlantic, and at one moment we were tracking an invest, but now the tropics are quiet. That invest rapidly weakening and completely fallen apart. So no threats on the board for the next 7 days. This is as we get closer to September 10th, peak of hurricane season. But I eerily remember last year that we were somewhat in a similar quiet zone this time last year. So it doesn't mean that we cannot have a backloaded season, but for now we can at least breathe easy. At one moment the invest was in this general area, but notice we've got a little bit of convection going on, but nothing organized and nothing like the magnitude of what we had when things were trying to get organized together. Overall, what you're looking at here is enhanced satellite showing you where some of the colder cloud tops are, so deeper convection. And again, it's just a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms riding along the ITCZ. Nothing to write home about when it comes to the tropics. One thing that's really been working against the invest at one moment, now nothing, was the drier air. We have a big Saharan dust plume that came through, creating a very dry and dusty layer just to the north of this circulation. It also is dealing with some wind shear, but the worst of the wind shear, thankfully for that system, was just to the north. But really it was the dry air and the dust that eventually was the big killer for this system. As far as looking forward, okay, what can we expect? We know we're quiet now, but what does that mean? If you look at areas in the long range, this going from September 10th through September 16th, so a couple days from now, we are tracking development possible in the Gulf of America, right around the Caribbean Sea as well. Now, if a storm is able to develop in this region, the odds are it could rapidly strengthen due to the warm water temperatures that we have in the Gulf. And it's a relatively untouched water basin thus far. None of the storms have found their way here. And so if we do have something form, it'll be important that you stay up to date as best as possible when it comes to all of the latest tropical updates. And then we take it one step further. All right, now let's talk about the last week or last couple weeks of September. Notice, yes, we're still talking development possible in the Gulf, but you've got some red coming over as it gets closer to the Lesser Antilles. That is a tropical wave that is moving along the Atlantic basin. Some of the models have been hinting at this. Everything is too soon to tell what's going on. All I can tell you is that the signs are there that as we cross the corner into the second week of September, things could take a turn on the more active side. Now, I've said this before, and then things just don't come together. It's a case of has to be the right storm and has to be the right timing. It needs this Goldilocks zone. I mean, after all, it's not easy to form a hurricane. These are powerful storms driven by the warm waters. And so we'll keep you up to date with all the latest minute details that could change. One thing that we can tell you, though, for certain is we can talk about climatology. And this is all the tropical origins from storms back to 1950 to just last year, so 2024. Notice, yes, in September, we do get a lot of tropical genesis in the Gulf of America. We also have a lot of tropical genesis just off of the Atlantic coast. Most of the time, that is from a stationary or stalled out boundary. And you can get an area of low pressure to form along it, and that eventually can turn into something purely tropical. In addition to that, we're also talking about tropical waves, again, that move off the coast of Africa. I mentioned the water temperatures. Let's highlight it one last time here. Look at how deep red these colors are. That's showing you temperatures into the upper 90s, especially when we're looking just off the coast, let's say, of Houston or off Florida's Big Bend in the Tampa Bay region. Water temps in the Gulf of America, no matter where you go, it is going to be conducive for tropical development. And so that is, again, a big piece of this puzzle. And when you look at water temperatures compared to average, we're also above in that category. So not only is the Gulf of America warm, it's a shallower body of water, it gets warmer faster, but it's warmer than we typically would see it this time of year. And we still have a lot more heat left to go. And remember, water can hold on to heat a little bit longer. As far as these homegrown tropical systems, again, I mentioned they form along these stalled out fronts, and they can land in the Gulf of America or, again, off that Atlantic coast. I highlighted some of those tropical origins. Dips in the jet stream can also form on areas of low pressure over the warm water, and non-tropical lows can eventually become tropical over time. And so what happens there is when we are talking about it shedding its frontal boundaries and making sure that it's purely being fueled by the warm waters and not some of the fronts. Because sometimes you can have a post-tropical system or a subtropical system where the pressure gradient is also helping to increase the winds, but it's not just the warmer waters.